All right, let's not sugarcoat things. Sunday was a disaster. The Panthers lost 17-7 to the 2-8 New Orleans Saints at home. A lot of things went wrong. I mean, we could break this down play by play, but we have to start with the elephant in the room, and that's the quarterback position. Bryce Young, the man I have defended over and over and over again over the last 3 years, had another subpar performance. 17-25, 124 yards, an interception, 0 touchdowns. That 17-25, which already isn't great, doesn't get better if you actually watch the game and don't just listen to analytics heads. Because a lot of those completed passes were off, and it was just a good play by the receiver. The New Orleans Saints sold their soul into stopping the run, and I don't blame them. Rico Dowdle has been arguably the best back in football. Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley, they said, you know what? Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, you're going to have to beat us by yourself. And Young failed at that. My phone has been blowing up because I'm such a Bryce Young fan and believer and defender. It's Ben MacArthur. What do you think about the future of Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers? I have a really hard time looking at this because I don't want to forget the fact that this dude is still 5-2 in his last 7 starts. The Panthers have won games, particularly Dallas and Miami, because he was clutch when he needed to be. But in the same tone, I would make the argument that we lost against the Saints because Bryce Young didn't show up. We lost against Arizona because Bryce Young threw a pick and fumbled the ball that spotted the Cardinals 10 points early. I don't like pointing the finger at Bryce Young. It's not fun. I'm not like one of these people that just criticizes him every chance I get. If that was the case, do you really think that I would have a poster of Bryce Young behind me? He's literally my favorite player on this Panthers team right now. But at some point, he's got to grow up. We can't just use the young quarterback excuse anymore. We've got to hold him accountable. Because moving forward, the blueprint to beating the Carolina Panthers is pretty simple, and the Saints executed it to a key. Stop the run. If Bryce Young can't step up and get our players involved, and that means Tetairoa McMillan, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, then we're toast. We're cooked. Remember just a week ago, if you watched my Panthers slander video, I'm talking playoffs, I'm talking the division. It's a lot of fun. Last week was fun. We beat the Packers. That was fun. Right now, I can't say that. This Panthers team doesn't beat the Rams. They don't beat the Seahawks. They don't beat San Francisco. If we perform how we did this week against the Saints at home, we don't win another game. I'm not exaggerating. I'm just telling you the truth. You might ask, MacArthur, there's no way that this win, the Saints win, Panthers loss is worse than the Bills loss, right? And absolutely, it is worse. The scoreboard doesn't show it. We didn't lose 40-9. And the Bills, you can place this one on Andy Dalton. You can just say, you know what? Andy Dalton was under center. We move on. This one's inexcusable. I don't care who's on the field. Even if it's me under center, who, not to brag, was an all-pro recess quarterback in the 5th grade, but I have no business being on an NFL field. Bryce Young is taking accountability. Like, if you listen to the press conference, he's saying, you know what, nobody likes to lose, and I'm a big part of why we lost today. And I like that. I'm glad. But that's not the issue. Bryce Young and accountability has never been an issue. We've got to evaluate his future with this team. Because you can love him, think he's a great guy, but the product on the field has been mediocre at best. And against the Saints, bad. I give it an F-. That pick, where he got absolutely played by the DB, made this an F- on its own. The question you got to ask yourself right now, at this very moment, would you be willing to pay Bryce Young $100 million over 4 to 5 seasons and lock him in as your franchise quarterback? As I think about that question, I don't know that I would definitely say that I would pay him that much. In fact, I would probably lean towards no at this point. Not that much. I wish that I could tell you that I want pen to paper now. I don't like to say that we shouldn't extend this guy. And I'm not saying that we definitely shouldn't. Season's not over. We got a lot of ball left to play. I'm not out on the guy. But I am concerned. I think that's the right word to use. Concerned. He's not looking downfield. And it's pretty simple. If the defense stops the run, and they know that you're only going to throw it 5 to 10 yards max, it shortens a lot of coverages. It makes the field easier to defend. Your safeties can crowd the box, and you get a result like we saw with the Saints. The Saints are not a good defense. Brandon Staley is not this defensive mastermind. I thought Tetairoa McMillan would eat against the Saints secondary. He really didn't. He didn't play bad. He did have the drop, but he's a rookie. That's going to happen. But Bryce Young couldn't get him the ball. I don't want to be in the quarterback market again. I've been there. I've been there a lot recently. It's not fun. It's not fun having inconsistency at quarterback. It's not fun having somebody who isn't a franchise quarterback. And I'm not saying that Bryce Young isn't the franchise quarterback. I'm really not. I don't like any of the quarterbacks in the draft. And the ones that I would even consider NFL ready aren't going to be around because we're not going to be picking top 5. Even if we lost every single game, we finished 5-12, we're in the 6-9 range. I want Bryce Young to be the guy because deep down in my heart, I know this guy can be a great NFL quarterback. What we saw at the end of the 2024 season wasn't a fluke, or I didn't think so. Rod Wave, if you can hear me, please contact your boy. He needs a phone call. We need to light a fire under him. It's been easy to just put Bryce Young's inconsistencies on he doesn't have a team around him, or he doesn't have an offensive line, or last year was he doesn't have a receiving core. I hate to break this to you. He has a team around him. Is it a Super Bowl contender? No. But is it good enough to beat the 1-8 New Orleans Saints at home? Definitely. Sure does. Bryce isn't playing well. I hope this was a bad week. And against Atlanta, Bryce has a get-back game, and he's terrific. And I can post another video saying, false alarm, I'm an idiot. But this season hasn't been good enough yet. Especially when you watch New England with Drake May, Chicago with Caleb Williams. These guys are dealing. And I'd make the argument that Drake May is playing not with the worst team overall, but less offensive weapons. He doesn't have a Tetairoa McMillan. Can you imagine if he did? He doesn't have a Rico Dowdle. And he's about to be the MVP of the league pretty soon. We don't need Bryce Young to be the gunslinger that throws for 300 plus yards every single week. That's not who he is. And he's never been that guy. He wasn't that at Alabama, even when he won the Heisman. But in the National Football League, to be good, you have to be able to throw the ball when the defense bails and commits to the run. And that sounds simple. But Sunday, it was not. This should have been easy to pick apart. I put some of it on play calling. I do. Dave Canales didn't call a legendary game. But at the same time, I do worry about Canales' belief and trust in Bryce Young because he doesn't even try to open up the playbook. He doesn't even try to put Bryce Young in opportunities to throw the ball downfield. That's concerning. He had no problem doing that for Andy Dalton. And in Tampa Bay, Baker was slinging it all over the field. Again, Bryce Young isn't that type of guy. But he's got to be able to do it at a competent level. Don't take as what I'm saying as just switching up, taking the easy road, and giving up on Bryce Young. I generally do still have faith in him. But I'm not this 100% definite that I was 2 to 3 weeks ago. I'm not comparing this to Cam Newton. So to answer the question of the title, and this is what I'm going to leave you with. I am not worried, per se, about Bryce Young, but I'm definitely concerned.